You spent years telling yourself, once I hit that number, I'll finally feel okay. Once the business is stable, once the savings account has a real cushion, once I don't have to think about money every single day, then I'll relax. Then I'll feel safe. And then you got there, maybe not perfectly, but like genuinely there, further than you used to think was possible. And this safety didn't show up the way you thought that it would. You're still checking your account more than a woman at your level should need to. You're still bracing a little. You still don't quite believe it's real, even with the proof sitting right there in front of you, looking at you in the face. This is one of the most common things I hear from women who've done really, really well for themselves, and almost nobody talks about it openly because admitting it out loud feels ungrateful. It is not ungrateful. It's just incomplete information about how safety really works. There's an assumption almost everyone makes without realizing it, and that's that safety is a math problem. Get the number high enough, and the feeling follows automatically. It doesn't work that way. Feeling safe isn't produced by your bank balance. It's produced by your nervous system's read on your circumstances. And those are two completely different systems running at the same time. One is tracking actual numbers. The other is tracking something much older, whether the current situation matches what it already knows how to trust. You can have the number and still not have the feeling, because the feeling was never actually waiting on the number in the first place. Well, Sammy, if it's not the number, what is it waiting for? I'm so glad you asked. Usually, a track record it recognizes. Your nervous system trusts patterns it's seen repeat, not single events, no matter how big or small. One great year doesn't undo a childhood spent watching money come and go unpredictably. One stable income doesn't erase the version of you that learned a long time ago that things can fall apart without warning. Your nervous system isn't being stubborn, it's being consistent. It's waiting for enough repetition to update its model of what's true. And most people never give it the chance because the moment things feel stable, they move the goalpost again, chasing the next number instead of letting the current one sink in. Now, I want to be careful here because ambition itself isn't the problem. Wanting more is not the enemy of feeling safe, but there is a version of goal chasing that isn't really ambition, it's avoidance disguised as ambition. If you never let a win truly land before you're on to the next target, you never give your nervous system the repetition it needs to catch up. You stay permanently in almost there mode, which feels productive, but it also means you never arrive anywhere long enough to feel safe in it. Ask yourself honestly, when you hit a goal, do you even take a moment to let it be real? Or do you immediately start narrating why it's not enough yet? That narration right there might be the exact thing keeping safety just out of reach. A lot of women learned an early definition of safe that had nothing to do with money at all. Safe meant staying quiet. Safe meant not standing out. Safe meant not needing anything from anyone. Safe meant being useful enough that nobody could leave. If that's the definition of of safe that your nervous system learned, then no amount of money is going to satisfy it because money was never the thing it was tracking. It's still checking for the original conditions, quiet, small, needing nothing, and financial success can genuinely violate all of those at once. You're more visible now. You take up more space. People notice you. A nervous system that learns safety meant staying small. That visibility can register as danger even while your conscious mind is thrilled about growth. You'd expect the anxiety to fade right after a big success. For a lot of women, it actually spikes. That's because a big win is the exact moment your nervous system registers the biggest gap between old and new. Right after the win is when it's most actively asking, wait, is this actually safe? Or is this the moment right before something goes wrong? That question right there isn't random. It's often based on real pattern recognition from earlier in life. Moments where a good thing was followed immediately by something painful. Your nervous system isn't trying to ruin your win. It's trying to protect you from a pattern it's seen before, even if that pattern doesn't apply anymore. Next time you hit a real win, instead of immediately moving on to the next goal, I want you to pause and ask yourself one very specific question. What would I need to see repeat consistently before I actually believed this was safe? Not what number, what pattern? Write down the most honest answer you can give to yourself. Maybe it's, I would need to see this happen 3 months in a row. Maybe it's, I would need to go through a hard month and still be okay. Whatever comes up, that is useful information because it tells you what your nervous system is tracking, which is almost never just the current number. It's usually consistency or evidence that a hard moment won't undo everything. Once you know what it's really looking for, you can start deliberately giving it that evidence instead of hoping the next big number will finally do the trick on its own. I want to be straightforward with you here. Understanding this intellectually is a real and useful first step, but it usually isn't enough on its own to fully resolve it. The definition of safe that's running in the background was usually built a long time ago, often tied to a specific relationship or a specific set of experiences, and untangling that fully tends to take more than a video or a journal prompt. It takes actually going back to where that definition got built and updating it directly, which is a different kind of work than thinking your way to a new belief. So if you've done the work, built the income, and you still don't feel as safe as you thought you would, that doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. And it doesn't mean the work didn't count. It means that your nervous system's definition of safe hasn't been updated yet. And no number on its own is going to do that updating for you. If you're ready to find where that definition came from and update it directly, I would love to talk with you. Book a discovery call using the link in the description. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.